Good morning, I'm Maiki Oreta and you're watching Business 360, where we break down the numbers, connect the dots, and give you the developments and the insights you need to navigate, adapt, and lead. Let's dive right in. The headlines. Bank lending hits a two-year high, surging 12% to 13 trillion. What's driving the credit boom? Manny Pacquiao scores a knockout outside of the ring, winning a multi-billion peso tax battle against the BIR. Doc Willie Ong pulls out of the Senate race. What's behind his decision? A major shift. U.S. President Donald Trump says peace talks to end the war in Ukraine are about to begin. All that and more coming up. First, let's take a look at how financial markets performed overnight. The S&P 500 closed lower on Wednesday as a stronger than expected U.S. inflation report fueled concerns that the Federal Reserve may delay interest rate cuts. U.S. consumer prices rose in January at the fastest pace in nearly a year and a half, reinforcing the Fed's cautious stance on lowering interest rates.
The market seems to have shaken off pretty somewhat negative reading on the CPI. Potentially, there could be some positive reaction to the fact that Trump and Putin got together and announced some type of discussions about proposed settlement to the war.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 0.5%. The S&P 500 slipped 0.3%, while the Nasdaq Composite gained 0.03% or was flat. Over in Europe, markets are up. The UK's FTSE 100 up 0.3%, higher by 0.3%. Germany's DAX higher by 0.5%, and France's CAC 40 higher by 0.2%. Here at home, bank lending surges 12.2% to 13.1 trillion pesos in December, the fastest credit growth since 2022. Data from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas shows this is higher than the 11.7 trillion pesos recorded in the same period last year. The BSP credits this growth to sustained lending in wholesale and retail trade, vehicle repair, and to electricity sectors. Now, why does this matter? Well, more lending signals confidence in the economy, which could drive business expansion, job creation, and consumer spending. However, it also means higher borrowing costs could impact debt repayments for companies and households. Now, senatorial aspirant Doc Willie Ong is dropping out of the 2025 midterm elections. In a Facebook post, Ong says that he is stepping aside to focus on his health. He also thanks supporters for their prayers and well wishes. He also pledges to continue advocating for good governance and backing candidates who share his principles. Ong is currently undergoing treatment for sarcoma cancer. He previously ran for vice president in 2022 alongside former Manila Mayor Isko Moreno. President Bongbong Marcos Jr. appoints Vince Dizon as the next Secretary of the Department of Transportation effective February 21st. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin confirmed the appointment, stating that outgoing Secretary Jaime Bautista resigned due to health reasons. Bersamin added that Dizon has been authorized by the Office of the President to begin the transition, working closely with Bautista's team. Dizon previously served as president and CEO of the Basis Conversion and Development Authority and was a key official in the government's COVID-19 response. Former senator and 8-division world boxing champion Manny Pacquiao scores a victory, this time against the Bureau of Internal Revenue, or the BIR. The Court of Appeals upholds a previous Court of Tax Appeals ruling voiding the BIR's order for Pacquiao and his wife Jinky to pay 2.2 billion pesos in tax deficiencies from 2008 to 2009. The CA ruled that the BIR failed to follow due process in its demand, calling the assessment invalid. This ruling reinforces the need for strict compliance with tax procedures and due process. For high net worth individuals and businesses, it also underscores the importance of vigilance in tax disputes. On another front, the Maharlika Investment Corporation, or the MIC, sets its sights on infrastructure investments, partnering with a foreign-listed firm. MIC President and CEO Rafael Consing Jr. clarifies that while infrastructure is a target sector, the fund will not be involved in transportation projects. Over the weekend, MIC announced a deal with a Thai firm to create a private equity fund aiming to raise up to $1 billion to modernize the agriculture sector. The sovereign wealth fund previously expressed interest in investing in energy, food security, healthcare, and mining. MIC's investments could accelerate development in critical sectors, potentially attracting more foreign capital and driving economic growth. But questions remain on how these funds will be deployed and managed effectively. Acting Presidential Communications Office Secretary Cesar Chavez confirms that he will take a leave of absence next week. He, however, did not disclose the reason behind his decision. This comes amid rumors of a possible resignation following a reported reshuffle in Malacanang. Chavez previously served as Presidential Assistant for Strategic Communications under the Office of the President and as Undersecretary for Railways from July 2022 to December of 2023. In his absence, Emerald Ann Ridao has been designated as the officer in charge of the PCO. Bilyonaryo Kevin Tan's Megaworld Corporation earns a spot on Time Magazine's first ever list of the best companies in the Asia-Pacific region, ranking 374th. Megaworld President Lourdes Gutierrez Alfonso calls it a proud moment, describing the recognition as a testament to the company's commitment to innovation and social impact. Known for its large-scale developments in mixed-use communities, Megaworld continues to shape the Philippine urban landscape while prioritizing sustainability. This recognition strengthens the Philippines' presence in the global business arena and underscores the importance of innovation in driving long-term growth. The Department of Trade and Industry admits the Philippines is falling behind its regional neighbors when it comes to product packaging, a crucial factor in global competitiveness. How does this impact local businesses and exports? Eugene Kim has the details.
As the food and beverage industry continues to expand, the Department of Trade and Industry is pushing for the widespread adoption of advanced machinery for food processing and packaging, aiming to boost production efficiency while minimizing waste and energy consumption. This initiative coincides with the launch of ProPack Philippines 2025, the country's largest food processing and packaging trade show, featuring over 250 companies from 25 countries and attracting more than 12,000 trade buyers. The DTI acknowledges that the Philippines is lagging behind in product packaging compared to its regional counterparts.
In truth, we are lagging behind. Sometimes if you put two products that's side by side, the packaging of one is better, but ours tastes better. But since the packaging is nicer on sometimes with our counterparts, yun ang nabibili rather than ours.
Beyond improving packaging, the industry is also focusing on sustainability in the production process, responding to growing market demands.
A lot of things happening now with regards to packaging, especially in plastics. Sustainability is no longer a trend in packaging. It is a necessity. Consumers are increasingly demanding eco-friendly choices, and businesses are facing growing pressures to reduce their environmental footprint.
In line with this, the DTI is also advocating for repair and after-sales services for machinery procured for shared service facilities or SSF.
Ang basic requirement ko lang ngayon for us to be able to buy these machines as a shared service facility is they must have repair and yung after-sales service. Kasi sometimes the machines are running and then pag na-stuck, wala na siyang pyesa, wala na siyang parts, wala na rin siyang repair. And we also need to constantly train the people or the MSMEs that will use these machines.
Among the government-supplied machinery under the SSF program provided for free to MSMEs are packaging, printing, bottling, and cold storage equipment.
We are opening doors to a future of innovation, collaboration, sustainable growth, and of course, advancement in the industries, which is something that we very much need here in the Philippines.
Let us continue to work together to push for the boundaries of packaging excellence and create solutions that drive both industry growth and environmental sustainability.
Sujin Kim, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
We're taking a quick break. Please stay with us as we dive deep into the numbers and the narratives that matter most to your bottom line. trading at the Philippine Stock Exchange opened earlier. Let's take a look at the initial figures. Now, after rebounding to the 6,000 level yesterday on bargain hunting, snapping out of a 4-day slide, the PSE index is in the green, higher by 0.5% to 60.75 on bargain hunting as well. We're seeing gains in the financials, industrials, holding firms, services, and mining and oil counters. Mining and oil counter in particular is up sharply in early trade, up by 3%. Whereas the holding firms up by 1.25%. The other sub-indices have marginal gains. And the property counter is the only one in the red right now. It's just flat with a downward bias, lower by less than 0.1%. Now, analysts say while this rebound suggests a recovery, the market remains very volatile. Now, today, all eyes are on the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. The Monetary Board will be meeting this afternoon to decide on interest rates. The market is factoring a rate cut of 25 basis points as the focus of the government shifts now from tackling inflation to spurring economic growth. This as GDP for the full year of 2024 came in at just 5.6%, which is below the government's 6 to 6.5% target range. Now, rate cuts are great because they make borrowing cheaper, encouraging businesses to expand and to invest, and this could lift stock prices and corporate earnings. But they make peso-denominated assets less attractive to foreign investors, so it's really a tough balancing act. Now, the foreign exchange market, the peso opens weaker at 58.25 against the greenback. This from its previous close of 58.19. Now, on another front, as expected, that's Vice President Sara Duterte's brief response to the National Bureau of Investigation's recommendation to file cases against her for allegedly threatening to kill the first couple and Speaker Martin Romualdez. What comes next? Hannah T. filed this report.
So for the record, she is the first Vice President po na nag-recommenda kayo na mag-file ng charges.
Yes, kasi siya ang first Vice President na nag-threaten sa Presidente. Wala namang dati.
After more than 2 months of investigation, the NBI says it has gathered enough evidence to recommend filing cases against Vice President Sara Duterte. The VP is facing possible charges of grave threats and inciting to sedition. The recommendation stems from a Zoom press conference held by VP Sara in November 2024. In that conference, she claimed she spoke to someone about killing President Bongbong Marcos, First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez if she were assassinated.
Na-incite yung kanyang mga followers, yung mga ibang tao na para bang gusto na nilang mag-alsa. Yung threat niya ay nalathala naman eh. Sinabi niya, no joke, 2 beses pa. So we take that seriously.
The NBI sent 2 subpoenas to VP Sara last year for her side of the story, but failed to appear on both occasions.
Kung nakipag-participate sa amin sa investigation, siguro maaaring maiba or what. But then, sabi ko nga, she waived her right to express her side. Kaya ayun, nag-depend kami sa mga evidence na present, sa mga testimonies na present, dun lamang kami nag-base.
If these cases push through, the penalty for grave threats could be as long as 12 years in prison. Since the alleged crime was committed online, it could also fall under the Cybercrime Prevention Act, which carries an enhanced penalty. Meanwhile, inciting to sedition has a penalty of 4 to 6 years.
Kami, sa panig namin, iniisip namin at naniniwala kami na sapat ang aming mga ebidensyang inilatag.
NBI Director Jaime Santiago stressed the investigation was impartial and that the decision to recommend charges was unanimous among him and other 5 NBI lawyers.
Gusto ko ito yung manatili na pinagkakatiwalaan ng tao na kami ay political, straightforward. Wala sa aming nag-utos, wala sa aming nagdikta kung ano ang dapat gawin sa kaso.
But he admits that the final decision to file charges lies with the Department of Justice.
Kung ang DOJ ay makakita ng prima facie evidence that magkakaroon ng certainty of conviction, ipapile nila ang kaso. Pero kung walang certainty of conviction, maaaring maibasura rin yung kaso na aming inirecommend, ipinail.
The National Prosecution Service declined to comment further, saying it doesn't want to preempt the outcome of the evaluation or affect any party's rights. The NBI also pointed out that the timeline for the investigation now depends on the DOJ. VP Sara was not surprised by the NBI's recommendation. Her brief statement sent to the media simply read, as expected. The articles of impeachment filed against VP Sara also include these allegations of inciting to sedition and grave threats. The impeachment was endorsed by more than 200 members of the House of Representatives. Hannah T., Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Former presidential legal counsel Salvador Panelo criticizes the National Bureau of Investigation's recommendation to file charges against Vice President Sara Duterte. Panelo dismisses the NBI's move as baseless, referring to the proposed charges of grave threats and inciting to sedition. He claims that the recommendation is tainted with politics, suggesting that it's part of a demolition job to damage Duterte's prospects for the 2028 presidential race. Duterte has previously expressed interest in running for president in 2028. On another front, U.S. President Donald Trump claims that both Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky want peace following his separate phone calls with both leaders. His defense secretary previously suggested that Ukraine may have to abandon its NATO ambitions and cede territory occupied by Russia as part of any peace deal. In a Truth Social post, Trump reiterates that both he and Putin want to stop the killing in Ukraine and in Russia. Now, why does this matter for global business? Well, a peace deal could impact global energy prices as sanctions and supply chain disruptions ease. Defense stocks, which have surged during the war, could see a market shift. And for the Philippines, stability in Europe may bring more foreign investments and trade opportunities.
We'll get something done. We're going to be meeting, actually tomorrow they're meeting in Munich, as you know, and we're going to have some other meetings, and I'll be dealing with President Putin largely on the phone, and we ultimately expect to meet. In fact, we expect that he'll come here and I'll go there, and we're going to meet also probably in Saudi Arabia the first time. We'll meet in Saudi Arabia, see if we can get something done. But we want to end that war. That war is a disaster. It's a really bloody, horrible.
Chevron plans to lay off 15 to 20% of its global workforce by the end of 2026 as it streamlines operations and faces industry headwinds. The U.S. oil giant is cutting costs amid production delays and cost overruns, especially in its massive Kazakhstan oil field project. Its $53 billion acquisition of Hess, which would give Chevron a stronghold in Guyana's oil-rich waters, is in limbo due to a legal battle with ExxonMobil. With over 40,000 employees worldwide, the job cuts could affect around 8,000 workers. Chevron's cutbacks signal uncertainty in the oil industry, which could impact global energy markets, oil prices, and investor sentiment. Now, how might this affect the Philippines? Well, higher global oil prices could drive up fuel and transportation costs locally, increasing pressure on consumers and businesses already struggling with inflation. Now, despite the challenges in the local luxury car market, Bilyonaryo Willie T10, president of the Auto Hub Group, remains optimistic as they introduce new models to drive growth. Our mobility correspondent, G. Baroga, has the details.
Pagani, Rolls-Royce, Mini. These are just some of the luxury car brands sold under the Auto Hub Group, led by Bilyonaryo Willie T10. While he says 2024 ended with average sales, citing a few economic bumps, Auto Hub brands still perform better than in 2023.
Auto Hub Group is one of the Philippines' top automotive dealers, bringing premium car brands to the country for almost 3 decades. Titan shares that this year, the industry is facing challenges such as tougher competition, higher interest rates, and rising costs.
For 2025, the company remains optimistic as it marks its 26th anniversary.
We're here to grow with the market. Hopefully everything will turn out better. Hopefully interest rates would go down. Competition is really, really tough. There's so many brands coming in, diba? So the margins are really, really small. So that's the one that is a challenge for automotive dealers, no? So we hope that things will get better, you know, but the biggest is still the interest.
To kick off the year, Titan unveils the all-electric Mini Aceman, highlighting its low charging costs and big savings for owners. He encourages people to try out electric vehicles, though he acknowledges the lack of charging stations is still a major hurdle, and calls for government support in the form of incentives.
I would suggest both sides do not wait. The charging station owners should try to build charging stations. The EV owners or the future EV owners should consider buying EV now, and so that sabay na lang instead of waiting for each other. But again, this will only happen if the government will really strongly support the EV charging stations.
Also sharing the spotlight is the all-new Cooper 5-door, launched alongside the Aceman to celebrate Mini's 15th year in the Philippines.
We're also celebrating the spirit of big love that defines Mini. Whether it's through innovation, sustainability, or the thrill and longing of driving the Mini. Mini has always been here. It has always been about community, connection, and creativity.
The Aceman is priced at 3,550,000 pesos, while the Cooper 5-door goes for 3,799,000 pesos. For BNC Mobility, G. Baroga.
And that's it for Business 360. I'm Maiki Oreta. Keep it here on BMC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel, always on top.